Hello and welcome back. Today I have a super exciting treat for everyone out there who truly wishes to be part of their own healing process. And what I mean by that is learning how to potentially, and I say potentially because, there's still different aspects of this process that you yourself are required to essentially lend yourself to, infuse your belief that what I'm sharing with you today is possible. So today I'm so super excited to share this modality of healing called TFT, thought field therapy. And this has been a modality that I have talked about for several years now on my series of podcasts that I've related with you and shared, from Candid Talks to Possibilities, and of course, now to Sean's Thoughts podcast. And we're live right now, right in this moment, in this beautiful forest location with airplanes overhead and really large trees all around us. And I'm here today to share with you a introductory video, we'll call it, that essentially looks to help you heal yourself, because I believe that is of the utmost importance to take our power back in all aspects of our lives, and that includes our own healing journey. See, for far too long, before I get to what I want to show you, we've given our power away. And this video hopes to essentially share with you the fundamental parts, the first introduction to a process called thought field therapy. Now, this particular therapy was created by Dr. Callahan, and he is a well known person in the self healing area. And I have his book that was written a long time ago before his passing, and I was looking to show it to you, but perhaps I'll show it in the next video. See, before we get into these different tapping points, I kind of want to, let you know what thought field therapy can do for you. And so today, well, we're going to explore the different tapping points, the different parts on our body where essentially you tap on yourself wherever you are. And, I'm looking at the list right now, approximately 12 to 15. I'm not sure the exact number of points, but there are different points on your body. Now, many people are aware of these points as they are specific meridians that the acupuncture or the acupressure, the Chinese doctors use in order to disrupt the energy flow. But more importantly, I mean, to release the energy flow that has been disrupted. So, this is a very experimental video that I'm sharing with you today, meaning that I felt for such a long time that I had to do this perfectly, and my desire to do this video perfectly led to my inability to do the video. And I'm sure you've often had that experience. So today, I want to, and I hope you're able to hear this with a lot better clarity. Hello there. My name's Shawn, and you're here with me with Sean's Thoughts. So today, I'm going to share with you some of the amazing things that thought field therapy can do. And perhaps this will keep you engaged in the full length of this video because, we are on a journey here. And truly, I believe to help heal yourself, you have to actually heal yourself. There's so many different practitioners out there that are willing to give you the quick fix or the I'll do it for you, or, you can just sit here and this technology will heal you away. But I truly do believe by being an active participant, not just in thought field therapy, but in any type of healing process that you do. I tried a lot of different healing processes where I lied back and I just looked for results. And I tried it once or twice, but actually, I participated in learning thought field therapy. I went through the actual process and the course that they do online. I'll leave that information in the link. But yet, here is a video that you can actually start using now just to get into the flow of participating in your own feeling. Now, there on your body, there are different meridians, and meridians you can kind of look at as highways. And sometimes, as you know, when you're driving in traffic, there's certain intersections that get essentially blocked. And what the tapping on those intersections allows you to do is to distort the resistance or the blockages that are stopping you from allowing your energy to flow throughout your mortal coil, as Shakespeare once called it. So what I'd like to for you to do today, or I would like to do with you today, I mean, is to essentially highlight some of the more common points where we do our tapping and therefore get us into the habit, because what this series of videos, and there's going to be more to come, are going to help you do is release things such as phobias, simple phobias, complex phobias. It's going to help release addictions. And believe me, there are a lot of need for releasing addictions, even in my own personal sphere, why I once had several different ones, which I'll talk about later. But anyways, it'll also allow you to release traumas and allow you to, even help balance yourself when you're flying or when you're moving between time zones. There's a lot of different aspects of thought field therapy that have been very essential to my own healing process. And while there are lots of different healing modalities that you can do out there, there are a lot of different, we'll call it, I'm forgetting what I'm saying now. But anyways, so those are just a few of the things. And in this series, what we're going to do is we're going to hold different practices where you can sit with me and work on these different, healing parts that you are on a journey to heal yourself. Because we're all different. We all hold different traumas. We all hold different issues and different, essentially, symptoms that perhaps by being more engaged in what we do with regards to that, rather than giving ourselves our power away to, the white lab coat or the slightly elevated seating and things like that, when we actually participate actively and we grow our belief in what we can accomplish with just putting our own energy into it. And so today I'm going to, as I said, kind of discuss these different meridian points or these different tapping points on our body and truly help you get you comfortable with where they are. So when we get into the algorithms, the sequences of these various tapping points, it all becomes a lot more familiar and you have essentially more experience working your way through that process. See, you could always go to anyone and view them as a practitioner, as if they had something that, you didn't have. And, you lied back and you allowed them to, or you even followed them in the case of this. And, I was trained in that. I was trained to, sit with people and get them to answer me questions and to tap on those locations with them. But, quite honestly, there are a billion people out there at least that could utilize this without having to pay for a practitioner. Of course, the practitioner can help those who require it. But if you are in a situation where you have YouTube, you're willing to pay for the ads, or not pay because you're spending your time, but you're willing to sit through the ads when they come up, and you're looking for a lot without that much ability to, buy that practitioner's time, then this video is definitely for you. And in the future, who knows what I'll do with it? Maybe hold a conference or two where we will do this together as a group. But now, right for this moment right now, in this beautiful location, which by the way was one of my very first candid talks on healing and on the healing stuff that I did. And TFT was one of the most important parts of my own practice, because it was the moment that I realized that the reason why I learned TFT wasn't so that I could go out there and make money off of people. It was so that I could contribute to my own healing practice. So, with that being said, thought field therapy, created, innovated, maybe possibly even remembered by Dr. Callahan and their amazing website. Like I said, I'll put that in the bottom. And maybe you want to get a professional connection to this. But for now, let's just start where we are. So there are a lot of different, maybe I should calm down now, because I notice that when I do a lot of my talks, my energy is very flowing because I'm receiving the information while I'm talking. So this one, I'm going to now get to the point where I can calm down and meet you where we all are today. I should probably be sitting a lot more upright from this. I apologize about maybe the crotch shot, but nonetheless, let's do it. So, we are going to start on basically showing you where these points are and, really getting a good feeling for where they are, and we're gonna tap on them, and we're gonna go through a series of them, the most important ones, obviously, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so the first part that I'm going to talk about is something, and I'm looking down because I want to actually read the notes that I have in front of me. So I use all of the words because one of the important parts when I was doing this myself is I'd keep going back to where that point was exactly, worrying that I was going to get it wrong. But I want to let you know something right off the bat. You can't really do anything wrong. Sit with that for a bit. So if you are for a while tapping on the wrong spot and then you realize, hey, that was the wrong spot, I did that a lot. No problem. It's intention, which is important and key here. So the first spot we're going to talk about is the eyebrow spot. And this is located at the beginning of the eyebrow. And so where that is right here. So the eyebrow is this part that's right here. And I hope that the camera is picking it up. And I recognize, I don't know about how far it is away, but right at the beginning of the eyebrow. And now, this actual process that you'll do on yourself, when we do it, now, reminding just before we go forward, these are the locations that we would tap. There will be a sequence of locations when we actually go into the practice. However, for this video here, we're just exploring where to tap. And where we're tapping for this one, and it's just as light as this. It's just a tap. It's a few taps. It could be 10, 15, whatever you're comfortable with. Definitely, a balanced amount of tapping when it moves to location, but it's on either side. So sometimes, let me clear my eye, it's a little itchy. Sometimes people will actually, they'll tap. And I apologize if it's a challenge hearing me, but obviously I can't tap and hold the microphone like I normally do. But you could tap with 2 fingers, you can tap with 1. It's really kind of about you how you're guided to do it. And so that is the first tapping point. Now there are alternatives to what we're doing, but right now I know this video is already gonna go long. It already has been long, and I kind of want to streamline it for this first introductory video. So the next spot that we are going to do based on, I guess, alphabetical or no, whatever it is the collarbone spot. And so we're going to move down from our head. We're going to come back to it after, but the collarbone spot is, I don't know if the microphones are going to get hit, but it's located about 1 inch down and 1 inch to the side of the sternal notch in the depression below the clavicle. And this spot is generally used as a treatment and emphasizes, anyways, I'm reading from the notes that I received, but where I find it to be is right about here. Now, unfortunately, I'm not going to take off my shirt in order to show it, although, some might find that appealing, others may not, but it's right here. And I don't know if I'm going to tap only on this side, but of course you can tap on both sides just because I don't want my microphone thumping. I'm not sure what the vibration is right now, but that's kind of the area right there where you're tapping. And like I said, it's not the exact location, means everyone's slightly different for where that spot was within their chest. But as you get comfortable, you'll be guided to the exact spot. And as we go actually through the algorithm and get a little more experience with it, this is where. Now, of course, if it's a little bit off, it's not a big deal. But as I said, the location based on the words is the collarbone spot is located 1 inch down and 1 inch to either side of the sternum notch in the depression below the clavicle. So you can kind of, find that spot on your own body, but it's approximately right here. And of course, everyone's body is slightly different to where that area is or that depression is. And so that's approximately where it is. Now, so we've got the eyebrow spot, and now we've got the collarbone spot. Now, this collarbone spot, and my microphone is in the way of that side, but that's very, very commonly used in the whole entire process. Now, each of these other ones, they may or may not be used on the actual process that you're doing, but the collarbone spot is something that you're going to use quite often. The next spot, we're going to go back up to the eye, and this one is called well, one part calls it the eye spot, and then the other place calls it the under eye spot. And so the eye spot is located directly under the center of each eye on the bony part. So that's right here. And so the point that we're tapping on is on the just the center of the under eye. It's on the bony part of the eye. And once again, you're just gently tapping on that spot. And what that's doing is as I said, it's distorting or disrupting or dislodging any sort of blockage that may or may not be at that particular meridian point or that particular space. And so once again, there's an alternative location. We'll go into that later. The next one we're going to go to, and I don't know why I'm jumping from all these other ones, but the next one we're going to go to is, yeah, I'm going to go just down the face. I know the notes are in a different order, but I'm going to go down to the next one. And the next one is the outside of the eye. And that's going to be located on the outer edge of the bony eye socket where the upper and the lower eyelids meet. So we're going to look at that as this area right here. This would be the other, and I don't know if it's coming in on the microphone, but this would be the other one right here. So it's right where the eyelids meet on the bony part on the outer part of the eye. And once again, that's on both of the eyes. So oftentimes people can go like this, they can tap here, and it's just a gentle tap. It's not hard, it's not super light. You'll get more comfortable. And it's basically that when you're tapping, kind of like, that gentle, and I'm tapping right now on my knee. It's a rhythmic process. It's not hard and it's not super fast. So there's no nervous energy. It's just a relaxed tapping. Of course, you'll fall into your own mode and how you feel about doing it. And, it's all about what you're comfortable with. And that's very, very important. Finding alignment in with what you're comfortable with. So the next one we are going to go to is under the nose. And that's just this area right here. And it's just under your nose. It's as it reads in the note, it's directly located under the nose in the central of the upper lip. So your upper lip is here. So in the center of it, and then just under the nose. And you're just gently tapping. And so we're going to go through those at the end. So this part is just kind of like, kind of showing them, and you can go along with me, which is kind of the idea. As I'm doing the tapping, you're doing it as well. And that's kind of how you experience it. If you were to do a session with me, that's how you would experience it. I would essentially know what the algorithm is, and I would have a short interview with you to kind of determine, which algorithm from the 40 or 50 algorithms there are quite a few of them. But, as you go through this and as you become comfortable, you can kind of, use certain algorithms and get more comfortable with just doing those. And so that's why we're just showing where the spots are right now. So far, let's quickly review, because it's always good to go back and review and be more comfortable. We have this spot here, which is the inner eye. We have the outer eye. We have underneath the eye. We have underneath the nose. Of course, we've got the collarbone on either side if I didn't have my microphone here. And the next one we're going to do is the chin. So this is the chin spot. So the chin spot is located below the lower lip in the cleft of the chin, right here. And once again, very gently, we're just relaxed. I hope that my head's in the camera. I'm sure it is. So the next one we're going to go to is the underarm. So the underarm is here underneath. And I always kind of look at it as like this. It's like the chicken wings, like putting, and this particular tapping one can go like this. Like for me, what I do, and I'm sure there's other people do other things, but what I do is I put my fingers together and I'm tapping underneath here. And so to read from the notes, the just trying to see where it says, okay, yeah. So one part calls it underarm, the other part calls it the arm spot. But basically, this is located on either side of the ribs and is about 4 to 5 inches directly underneath the arm. So it's kind of like, of course, it depends on your body proportions, but it's somewhere around here. Some people like talk about some people that I've learned from talk about the bra strap and things like that. And, that's kind of an area. But for me, I just felt that, it's about 4 to 5 inches underneath the arm. And it's, yeah, so about right here. And I find kind of tapping like this. And that's why I put the two fingers together. And so I'm going like that. And once again, now, when you're doing this, like what's happening right now when you're doing it this way and you're trying to tap under there, you're actually straightening up your back. And that's probably one of the important things, that when you are doing this, that you are sitting upright and you're not leaning into something. Now, I'm on a log, as you see, so I'm doing my best to stay up, but it's really good posture, especially when you're doing this. So we're going to quickly go through the spots that we've tapped on. So we've tapped on the inner eye, and notice I'm keeping my back up straighter now. We've tapped on the outer eye. We've tapped on the under eye in the middle of the eye, on the bone part, gently, of course. We've tapped on underneath the nose. We've tapped on underneath your lip, which is the chin part, in the little divot there. We've tapped on the collarbone, which is a very important one. And we've tapped on underneath the arm. Now, those ones are your major points when it comes to, the actual body. Now, there are a few more that we're going to do as well. And this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So bear with me. I hope that, if you're, watch this video one time and, you're hoping to have them all down by now, not a problem. If you're, it helps with repetition, and it helps with, doing it more often and repeating it. So I highly recommend at the end of this video, you tried it out, go back and watch this video again. I intend this probably to be one of my most watched videos, because I really, really, really would love to, hear more stories about people's own self-healing journey, taking back their power. And this is definitely a great tool, as I've often talked about, and I'll continue talking about more until, like, I don't know, till I'm rainbow in the face. All right. So we've got that. I'm just making sure I got them all. Okay. So now we're going to go to the hand. So this is your hand. And we're going to talk about the 5 different points on your hand that you can also utilize, and we're going to use them a lot, some of them. So the first one is your index finger. So your index finger is the finger that you point with. So that's one right here. Okay? So your index finger. Now, the spot that we're going to tap on, I'm going to read it to you first before I show it to you. The index finger spot is located on the thumb side of the index finger, at the base of the nail, where the nail meets the flesh. So where that spot is right here. And you can basically take one finger, even the other index finger, and just tap on that space. And as I said, that's where the flesh meets the nail. at the base, and it's on the inner side of the hand there. So it's right there. And on the other side, same thing. The inner side towards the thumb, the little spot there, and you're basically just tapping. And once again, it doesn't have to be perfectly accurate. We aren't a robot, we are Homo sapien, and we're doing our best, and that's really all that people can do. So the next one we're going to do is the middle finger. Well, we all know which the middle finger is. You know, Eminem put it up a lot. So the middle finger is kind of the same thing. It's the same fleshy part, and I'll read from the diagram if there is one here. Um, no, it doesn't have that, but nonetheless, it's the exact same space. Now it's on the same side as the other one, but it's the middle finger portion. And the same thing. We're just tapping very gently, very lightly. You can use whatever finger you'd like to do it. I always find the index finger is probably the easier one to do. And you're just gently tapping on that spot. The next one we're going to look at is the tiny finger. The tiny finger spot is located on the thumb side. So same thing. It's the thumb side, which is right here. And it's on the base of the nail where the nail meets the flesh. So same idea. So you have 3 spots that you're looking for, and they can be done on either hand. We can go like this. Now we've got the tiny finger spot. We've got the middle finger spot, and we've got the index finger spot. So on either 3 of those, and same thing. Index finger, middle finger, and tiny finger. Okay, so those are the 3 fingers. The other one we have is something called the Gambit. And the Gambit is located on the back of the hand. It's on either hand in the depression below the base joints of the tiny finger and the ring finger. So your tiny finger, your ring finger, it's on the back of the hand, and it's basically this little divot that's on your hand. And this is another very common one, so something you'll get familiar if you decide this is something that works for you. And you're basically just tapping like something like that. Now, the Gambit spot is used as a very important treatment and several other things with depression, with physical pain and I'll get into all that later, but yeah, this is a very, very popular one to talk about. So it's in that area right here. And now this one's a little bit different, is that you can use 2 fingers and kind of space it out a little bit and be a little more, I guess you could say, energetic in this area here, as opposed to being gentle on these smaller areas. This one can take a little bit more pressure. So just be aware of that. The last one we're going to learn is it's called a PR correction, but basically what it is it's this area right here on the side of your hand. And it's on either sides of the hand. And this is a special one, which we'll talk about, but I just wanted to kind of, breach all of the main spots as opposed to the alternative. Now, a couple things about TFT, and I'm going to give you this, you can stop for a second. TFT, thought field therapy, is a clinically proven, well-respected modality of healing, energetic healing, self-healing, that has been utilized all over the world by many, many thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. So it's not something that's new age. It's not something that's radical. It's essentially something that has been around for a very long time. Actually, I think the book that I have by Dr. Robert Callahan, I think it's Robert, but anyways, by Dr. Callahan, I'm suddenly thinking and getting confused with names and whatever. It was published like several decades ago. And since that time, his wife, after the passing of Dr. Callahan, has continued on teaching people about this. And that's actually how I learned about it, and not learned of it, but learned to actually do it. Is I went on to their site called tfttapping.com, and I signed up how to essentially become a practitioner myself. Now, what I discovered though is, often people will learn how to do something, or they'll hire a practitioner to help them with something, but they're only kind of half there, or they are looking for solutions or quick fixes. And in this world of, you know, everyone's trying to make money, oftentimes people will, well, they won't fully connect with something because, you know, there's many different reasons. But what I highly encourage, and why I'm doing this series, is that you can essentially take it within your hands. And even if you were to connect with me in the future, or one of the other thousands of practitioners out there in the world, that you will have an understanding, because having an awareness and an understanding and even experience just by tapping on these few points that we've talked about today, that's going to essentially infuse and empower your own belief. And belief is something that's of the utmost importance when you're on your own healing practice and you're on your own healing journey. Because the more that you believe in something, the more you empower your own physicality, your own body, your own experience to truly bring in that healing. And that's why this video is of the utmost importance. Before I get into doing videos where we hit the different topics, such as, you know, simple phobias or even complex phobias, where we help release self-doubt and self-sabotage, where we help release, you know, physical pains in some cases, as well as, you know, addictions, where we can distort those energies which are limiting us and tethering us, where we can essentially take back our power and take our own healings into our own hands. That's what this series or this particular video is all about. And remember, this is an introductory video. I'm just showing you where the spots are. You know, you can get into it, you can repeat it, you can, you know, practice finding those spots again, get comfortable. In videos to come, which I hope that you'll subscribe and stay with me on this journey, we're going to get into more spots later to come, as well as practicing those specific algorithms, those specific sequences. And you'll understand later what I mean by that. So let's go back through and conclude with these spots once again. So first of all, we have the inner eye. And it's always good to close your eyes if you can, calm. The outer eye, and you can do this on both sides. Underneath the eye, remember it's on that bony part, gently. Under the nose, underneath, or in between, it's under on the chin, but it's right there in that little divot area under the lower lip. The collarbone, which is on both sides. I'm just not tapping on the other side because of the microphone. We have underneath the arm. We have the index finger. We have the middle finger. Sorry, I don't mean to do that, but we have the middle finger. I just want you to see exactly where it is. Actually, I'll go like this. I've already fingered you, so we're long past that, right? And then we have the tiny finger. Then we have that Gambit spot, which was between the ring finger and the tiny finger in the little spot there. That one can have, and it's on either hand. And it's always good to be, as I said, holding your back up straight. And I'm just correcting myself with that. And then we have this spot right on the side of the hand. And it's on either hand. So we have the 5 parts on the hand. And we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the face. And then we've got the 2 on the body, the collarbone, and the underarm. So those are the different main spots. There are alternatives. And, you know, this video, as I said, is just about getting you familiar with those spots that we're going to be tapping on in future videos and getting you comfortable with that experience of doing it. Because, as I said, Getting comfortable with the experience will help you build your confidence and your belief in what you're doing. Because as I've mentioned in previous videos, I did this whole sequence of different algorithms based on depending on which symptoms I was feeling, which energies or issues I wanted to deal with, over 90 times. 90 days in a row, I did this, and I did a lot of my own personal healing. And it wasn't about the first 10 times didn't work. They worked. But there are so many different energies, traumas, fixations, addictions, issues, feelings, pains, you name it. There is so much out there, and each of us holds on to a lot of that. And so the more that we can work upon ourselves, and imagine, just imagine if you were, or if I was, to essentially pay someone $100 or even $50. $50 was a very low price, but nonetheless, that was many years ago. If someone were to spend $100 on a session and they were to do 90 sessions, just imagine how much that is. And, you know, that's what I'm looking to help people break away from, is having to pay someone else. Now, I highly encourage you, if you have the resources and you want to support the people that are doing this, reach out to them, because not everyone's comfortable with doing things on themselves. But for those who are, for those who perhaps don't have the resources, or they're really wanting to take back their own power, then this series of videos that's going to be created in a playlist, and right now I'm just going to start the playlist, but in the weeks to come I'm going to be releasing a lot of videos that help with specific issues that perhaps you're experiencing. And even if you don't realize it at the time, maybe in the future you're going to discover that, oh, yeah, I did have that. And there'll be a video possibly that'll help you out. And you repeat watching that video a few times, and perhaps it'll all be gone. It's really up to you. It is. It's up to all of us to take our power back and to take our own healings in our hands and, do for yourself. So I want to thank you so much for sharing your time and your intention with me. I'm hoping to essentially leave these videos up for anyone and everyone to use. I might in the future times put them on Patreon so that you can possibly watch these without having ads pop up. Because, I love living in a world where I don't have to focus on ads and advertisement. In fact, I would hope that my channel could live one day without having ads or selling product placements or anything like that, for free, for everyone to share. And so whether you're in Africa, whether you're across the Middle East or in South America, or here in my own country, Canada, across North America and Mexico and United States, I wish you the best opportunity and, experience on taking back your own healing journey. So thank you so much for sharing this time and, out here in this beautiful space. And I'm going to run off and sit and perhaps do a little bit of nothing, because that's also what's very important. We're going to talk about other things you can do along with TFT later. But for now, thank you and enjoy, and rewatch the video. And if I could, ask you to share it with as many people as you perhaps think that need a little bit of healing and perhaps a little bit of guidance to get them on their own journey. I'd really appreciate that, because I'm anticipating living in a world of great and immense beauty coming very soon to an earth near you. Anyways, thank you.